Every year, millions of people fall into the same trap, buying survival gear they'll never use, chasing the illusion of preparedness through expensive tools, kits, and tactical gadgets. You've seen it before. The $300 knife that never cuts a thing, the waterproof stove that fails in real rain, or the so-called indestructible flashlight that dies after just 2 weeks. The survival market thrives on fear and marketing, not practicality. But history and real field experience shows that when everything goes wrong, it's not the fancy gear that saves you. It's the fundamentals, knowledge, adaptability and gear that's been proven by decades of use, not decades of hype. Prepping went from practical to performative, and that's where the problem started. The original idea of prepping was simple. It wasn't about looking tactical, it was about staying alive with what you had. After the Great Depression, through World War II and into the Cold War, survival was built around resourcefulness, not luxury. People reused tin cans, turned parachute silk into clothing, and built stoves from scrap metal. When food was scarce, families relied on what they grew, traded, or stored in cellars. Nothing went to waste because, well, necessity bred invention. Today, prepping has drifted far from those roots. The industry sells fear in neat, expensive packages. Solar-powered tents, portable fridges, and titanium cookware, none of which honestly teach the one skill that matters most: how to adapt when the plan fails. A $1,000 bug-out bag packed with gear means nothing if you can't purify water with what's around you or start a fire when your lighter breaks. Prepping in its truest form is about skill, not spending. The old ways worked because they focused on redundancy, not gadgets. The best preppers in history weren't modern YouTubers. They were the soldiers, explorers, and farmers who had no choice but to survive. During the Second World War, soldiers learned to make cooking stoves from tin cans, seal wounds with field rations, and, well, dry boots using body heat inside their coats. Every piece of gear had to serve multiple purposes. The United States Army's M43 field jacket, for example, wasn't stylish. It was designed for survival. It worked as insulation, a pillow, a pack, and even a flotation device when filled with air. Modern prepping gear often does the opposite. It performs one function beautifully and then, fails everywhere else. A compact water filter might work perfectly for clean streams, but clog instantly in muddy runoff. A high-end tactical flashlight might light up a room, but drain its battery in just a few hours. The best gear, historically and practically, is multi-use, durable, and simple enough to repair or improvise when things go wrong. To apply this mindset today, take an inventory of your current gear. Ask yourself, how many of these items could I fix, recharge, or replace in a long-term outage? If the answer is not many, then it's not survival gear. It's a comfort prop. Replace redundancy with skill. Learn to build, repair, and adapt rather than rely solely on prepackaged convenience. Real preparedness starts with field-proven essentials, not commercial trends. The gear that has stood the test of time usually shares 3 traits: It's low-tech, durable, and easy to maintain. A solid carbon steel knife can be sharpened on a rock. A wool blanket insulates even when wet. A metal canteen can boil water over a flame, unlike plastic hydration packs that melt or split. These aren't glamorous, but they work when nothing else does. Modern preppers can take cues from history's most reliable survivalists, the mountain troops, bush pilots, and explorers who faced real isolation. They didn't carry 15 gadgets. They carried 5 reliable tools and knew how to make them last. The trick is to build your setup around versatility. For instance, a stainless steel cup isn't just a drinking vessel, it's a pot, a shovel, a digging scoop, and a storage container. Cotton bandanas double as filters, bandages, or pot holders. These are the types of tools that have saved lives for generations, not the collapsible luxury tents with USB ports. You don't need a $1,000 stove when a simple Esbit solid fuel burner or, a DIY alcohol stove can cook in the snow. You don't need a GPS watch when you know how to read the sun, the stars, or just a basic compass. Real survival, honestly, is about independence from complex systems, not dependence on them. Skill, not gear, determines who makes it through the hard days. When everything collapses, electricity, fuel, communication, it's your habits that keep you alive, not your latest Amazon order. The soldier who learned to build a stove from scrap cans, or the farmer who preserved meat in salt, survived because they knew how, not because they owned what. If you want to be truly prepared, start practicing your skills with the gear you already own. So, you'll want to learn how to start a fire with natural tinder from your area. Could be dry grass, birch bark, or even cattail fluff, Also, learn how to collect and filter water using just cloth, sand, and charcoal. These skills, they cost nothing, but honestly pay endlessly in reliability. Try spending one night camping with only the gear you carry every day. You'll quickly discover which tools are actually useful and which ones are just dead weight. This exercise alone, it really exposes the myth that gear equals readiness. Modern preppers, they often overlook one critical thing: maintenance. It's not enough to just buy a solar charger. You have to know how to keep its contacts dry, its panels clean, and its batteries safe from corrosion. Gear doesn't make you resilient. Maintenance and understanding do. If there's one principle that really defines real prepping, it's self-sufficiency. The tools that matter most, they're the ones that multiply your ability to survive without needing constant replacement. A sturdy knife, a ferro rod, a wool blanket, a canteen, and just some basic shelter materials. These can honestly outperform an entire shelf of high-tech gadgets if you use them right. But none of that means anything without knowledge. Take some time to master old-world techniques, like how to make char cloth, render animal fat for waterproofing, or even build a rocket stove from bricks. These methods don't cost a thing, and they rely on materials you can find pretty much anywhere. When you understand these skills, you're honestly never unprepared. You're adaptable, plain and simple. That's really the core of survival. Confidence built on competence, not consumerism. Prepping shouldn't be about showing off a bug-out bag on social media. It should be about knowing that if everything you own disappeared tomorrow, you'd still have the skills to rebuild. The soldiers, explorers and civilians who lived through history's hardest times did so with fewer tools, but far more knowledge. So, before you buy your next high-end gadget, just stop and ask yourself, am I buying security or am I building it? For more deep dives into real-world survival wisdom, forgotten military gear and practical off-grid methods that actually work, subscribe to Backyard Wisdom. And, share this guide with others who want to prepare smarter, not richer. Because true survival has always been built on skill, not stuff.